If you want to be confident in what you're doing, you have to accept yourself the way you are.
Hello,
Hi, Kunal, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. What about you?
I'm doing good too. Thank you. How was your weekend?
It was normal, nothing special about it.
All right. What does a normal weekend look like?
Mm, uh, I normal weekend would be something that you are expecting and you get those things that you are expecting. And something different would be that your expectations are not met. Like it can be for the good or the worse. So that's what I
Okay.
was talking about.
Right. Okay. Okay. Cool. Then, what would you say a miraculous weekend is like?
Okay. So, I will talk about something very deep here, like something like conquering my fears. Like my fear is I am not an extrovert. So when I have to talk to a new person or go to a new place, so it's a very
Mm-hmm.
challenging task for me to do small talk and to get the work done, and trying new things. That's a challenge for me. So if I get that particular task done, then I feel good from inside, and that's a miraculous thing that I feel is for myself. That's a definition for me, but it would definitely be different for everybody else.
Definitely, miracles are subjective experiences. So
Absolutely.
what is that thing that would get you to be comfortable with someone?
Like I have to be comfortable with myself before I am comfortable with someone when I'm making a conversation. So it's basically depends on my self confidence, how confident I am. So I think that more and more practice and more being in that situation would make a person like me confident, because I'm not a natural extrovert or a person who can start conversations or can interact with people easily.
Why do you think you're not very confident?
I've never thought about it. I think I'm just like that. I'm a less risk taker, I would say, uh,
Okay.
from the people that are out there. I think that's what makes me that kind of person.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. So do you think it has anything to do with the way you speak, or is it just what you speak about and what the others speak about?
No, I don't think it's about how I speak. It's small things like this, fear of judgment, not trying new things, or speaking your mind to somebody else. So those fears creep up when you try to do something new. So I
Right.
guess these things shape a person's personality, how they tackle those problems, and go ahead in life.
Kunal, thank you for saying that because that sounds like you've given a lot of thought to how you want to develop. It takes a very
Mm,
self-aware person to be expressive about who they are, how they feel, and how they want to grow. Right?
mm,
So kudos to you for going on that journey. It is not an easy
mm.
one to take, and not a lot of people do that. All right. So, my wishes and my best wishes, my support to you on this journey, and you're also doing great by taking efforts by acting on them.
Yes, absolutely. I'm trying my best to take the step eventually. As they say, just do it. So, just doing it is the hard part. Like, if you are afraid of something, so if you are trying to do something new, like let's say, in my case, if I had to go to a conventional job, but starting a business, doing a business, it's a very different path. So, so doing that is a challenge, is it is in itself. So everybody won't appreciate you or won't be on the path with you, because there's a lot of things that comes in play when
Sure.
you do
You're,
these
you're
kind.
always going to find people you don't agree with, you don't
Absolutely.
really enjoy talking to. So these are uncomfortable situations. You would have to go out of your comfort zone and still, keep the
Hmm.
conversation alive. I do
and
get it. Yeah,
and
it's not, yeah.
and I would say myself that I'm more towards the spirituality and the religion, so that's why I get these kinds of thoughts more, like about self
Yeah, it's also
development.
the reason you feel repulsive about talking to people. I do get that. But especially, like you said, if you're considering starting a business of your own where you have to deal with people, yes, 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 I do get it. I completely empathize. It can be a really hard thing to do, especially when you're not someone who appreciates small talk. Is that right?
No, I appreciate small talk, but I am not able to do it myself.
Right. Okay. So let's okay then let's do a scenario. All right, just role play.
Hmm.
Let's imagine we are all working in the same office building.
Hmm.
Okay, I work on a different floor, you work on a different floor, different companies,
Hmm.
but it is generally nice, to be polite to each other and break
Absolutely.
the awkwardness. Okay, we are now
Absolutely.
entering the lift in the building,
Hmm.
and I am getting down on the 10th floor, and you're getting down on the 15th floor.
Hmm.
All
Hmm.
right. So we have 10 floors to travel together. So what would
Hmm.
be the small conversation you would have? Okay.
So if I had to, if I had to get some work done from you or had some work with you, so I would definitely have to do small talk. That would be a compulsion for me. So I would
Mhm.
come up with ideas. But if I didn't have anything, like if I didn't have any, how do I say it? Like in
Nothing to do with.
Hindi, nothing to do with you. Yes.
Mhm.
So then it would be very hard to do small talk. So, but so because sometimes you have that fear of what if I stir something very personal or something,
Yeah,
some
but small talk is not personal, no, Kunal. It can be about the weather. It can be about the traffic. It can be
Mhm.
about how slow the lift is, how small the lift
Okay.
is.
Okay.
Mm.
So if I really had
But
to start a
I would,
small talk, I would
yeah,
say I would
I
ask you about
let me
your.
just interrupt you for a second there. It's generally good practice to be polite to even strangers, especially if you're in the business field, right? You're going to be
Absolutely.
bumping into each other often. And you carry kind of charisma, so people are going to be like, "Oh, Kunal, okay, I know that man. Hey, he speaks well," even if they don't know you personally. It's kind of a nice thing to do. Okay, you just walk in and you smile and say hello.
Hmm.
They should, really come up with bigger lifts for such a huge building.
Hmm.
It's really hot in here today. Maybe they should fix the fan in the lift,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. In India, we do a lot of small talk, like if I can put it in some context in my life, like today, when I was going with my motorbike to some other place, so the railgate was dropped for a very long time. So people start to chat amongst themselves that look at this government, how they are not functioning properly. They are not thinking about the people's time and the discipline that needs to be in place. So there, I think I can make a small talk, and it's because of all the sessions that I'm taking on Clapingo and also the uh, things that I'm doing out of my comfort zone that is making me do that, I guess.
Right. So that's the best thing. Even in a formal setup, you can do the same small talk because it's not any different. Small talk is small talk. It's not really conveying any point. It is not expressing any opinion. It is just, in a way to connect with people
Mm.
at a slightly personal level.
Mm.
If it's too hot outside, you're feeling hot, the other person is also feeling hot. Okay, we're all human beings. We are sensitive to changes in the weather, in whether it's raining or it's hot or it's cloudy. What is the worst thing that could happen? Nobody's going to eat you alive,
Absolutely.
right? They're not going to stab you and say, I don't like talking to you, right? What's the worst
Mm.
thing that can happen? They're probably not interested in talking. That may not even be about you. It may be about something they are personally going through, and it's fine, but you attempted,
People,
right?
yeah, sometimes people vent out their frustrations to somebody else.
Right. And some days they don't want to talk. Like today, if I had a fight with my husband, I don't want to talk to anybody.
Okay.
Okay. So at that time, you come and tell me how hot it is outside. I'm probably not going to care.
Hmm.
All right.
They're
So
not going to
that does
respond.
not right. So that does not mean it is about you. It is not something you told me that upset me.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. We should not take it personally or should not be bitter about it.
Exactly. So even if you don't get great response for your small talk, it's probably not about you.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
nobody's judging you for it. Okay, so
Mhm.
so for who knows, like later I might go back to my cabin and realize, oh, that guy was actually trying to be nice to me. I was caught up in my own mess, and I might even regret not being nice to you,
Mhm.
right? So there are situations, like we are all human beings, we all have our own problems to deal with, but small talk is something that breaks the ice for a lot of people. right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
So
and I think that it's a good skill to have.
right. So, and you don't need a lot to do any kind of small talk. So let's just say you're going to a restaurant, okay, and in this restaurant, you just going to the restroom and you're washing your hands. You have another person. It's really awkward that and you just look in the mirror and say, "Hey, nice food here," right?
Mm.
Right. So
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
right. What makes you do small talk relevant to the situation is just being fully present,
Mm.
right? You're fully present here, you're seeing who is around you, and they are also experiencing the same environment that you are experiencing,
Mm. Yes,
right? If
I
you're
think
frustrated about something, they are also frustrated. So this is something you can pick on and bond with them,
absolutely, absolutely.
right? So I'm sure you've thought through all of this, and I'm sure you're also doing great. Like you said, you're having small talk with the random strangers on the street, which is
Yes.
good. Great progress considering how hard introverts find it to talk to strangers,
Mm.
right?
Absolutely, yes.
Right. So what would you think is a miracle now?
Now,
Okay,
I,
let's fast forward by 3 months or 4 months. Okay, Kunal is not so uncomfortable doing small talk. Kunal is
mm,
not awkward around strangers anymore.
mm.
And what would be a miracle that can happen?
The miracle I think would be to keep the same thing going on and again. Like, do not feel less and less confident again, going back to square one, as I said. So
Mhm.
keep on going that and try to keep bigger goals from then on itself and try to achieve it. And if I achieve it, it would be a miracle, obviously.
That's nice. But the kind of miracle you're talking about, Kunal, is an ongoing process. It's a never-ending process. Because
Yeah,
I
but
think you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself to continuously keep improving, continuously keep growing. Am I
mm,
right?
yes, absolutely. I think you
Right?
you got the right exact point.
Right. So I think that is a lot of pressure you're putting on yourself, and it is
Mm,
kind of unfair to you.
mm,
Right? Nobody ever grows like that.
mm,
So even if you take a tree, right? When you have you seen the rings of a tree when you cut a tree?
mm. Yes,
Okay, so
I've
it,
seen.
it means a plant has been growing, and there are times when the plant stops growing.
Mm,
It just rests. It just wants to maintain whatever has how much ever it
mm,
has grown so far
mm,
until the next season comes. It grows again, and then it
mm,
holds, it maintains. So there is a phase like that for all of us. All right, we grow up to a certain point. We kind
mm.
of hike up the graph.
We come to a saturation point. I
It's not
wanted to say that.
saturation. It is not really saturation. If for the lack of a better word, you can say it. But there are times we don't grow, but we just wait for the next thing to inspire us.
Mm,
Okay, and it is okay. It is okay because inspiration will find you when your intent is to grow. Okay, so when you put a lot of pressure on yourself
mm-hmm.
to keep achieving the next thing and the next thing and getting better at the next thing, it does hamper your confidence. You feel like you don't know a lot, so you're not
Absolutely.
confident, right? So that is
Yes.
probably something you should give a little thought about, because you would not be in whole acceptance of yourself if you don't feel adequate.
Mm. I guess you're trying to say that I need to take a break sometimes from the competition. Uh,
There, see, the competition is a rat race. It's never going to end, right?
absolutely.
If you want to be confident in what you're doing, you have to accept yourself the way you are.
Mm.
That does not mean you're going to stop growing. Growth will happen inevitably. Okay, but confidence will happen when you accept that you're still growing,
Mm, absolutely. And
right? So
I
work
have
with
a
acceptance.
I have a thing that these kinds of thoughts occur to introverts more than extroverts because they are constantly thinking in their head rather than talking to somebody else. This is my thinking.
See, there are pros and cons to both sides of uh, it.
What
It
kind
is
of person are you?
I would say I'm an ambivert.
Okay.
So there are times when I don't want to talk to people, and there are times I need people,
Mm.
right? And both of it are essential. See, man is a social being, and he needs both of it. And man is also a
Absolutely.
spiritual being.
Mm.
So when you find a balance between the two, I think there's more harmony. So when if it
Yeah.
is social circle you're struggling with, accept yourself. Begin with accepting yourself the way you are,
Mm.
because there is no perfect person.
Yeah, this conversation went very deep in self-help and self-development.
Right. See,
I
a
guess
lot
I
of
am the culprit for
communication
it.
is also about, see, communication is not just about grammar and sentences, especially when you're speaking in a language that's not your mother tongue.
Mm.
It does put a lot more pressure and the need to feel better about it. And one aspect of that is accepting yourself that you are not a native English speaker. So, nor am I,
Absolutely.
for that matter,
Mhm.
right? But where does your journey begin is in accepting that, right? So that is my tip for you. And I'm sorry if I quantified for too long. I just did not see a lot of errors in what you spoke. Like you pointed out, you're here to familiarize yourself with building social contacts. So I thought this would personally help you. In my experience, I thought this is something I can give you as a takeaway from this conversation.
Yes, absolutely. It helps because if I'm being very honest, right, like in people's personal lives, you talk with your personal circle every time, right? But when you talk to a stranger, there you can talk about anything. You don't have the fear as far as
Exactly.
people who are able to express themselves. But when it comes to people who are real introverts, like I was back then, I would not be able to even express myself. Like I
Right.
have the fear of what the other person might think. But
That's okay,
nowadays,
Kunal. That's
nowadays I
okay.
don't feel
That
anything.
will definitely get better on the platform. Unfortunately, we're also on a timer today. My session will
Absolutely.
get disconnected anytime soon.
Hmm.
So before that, I want to have farewell with you and wish you all the very best on your journey.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. And
All right. We'll see each other in further sessions. All right. Have a nice evening ahead.
yes, you too. Have a great
Thank
day.
you. Bye.
Bye.